Hello, my name is Barry Jones, and I am the proprietor of StandardsPlusHistoryAcademy.com and also of this YouTube channel. And I thought it'd be good to put out an introductory video to let you know a little bit about me, about this channel, its purpose, how it came to be, and a few other details as well. I am a teacher. I've been a high school history teacher for 25, 26. This is my 27th year. I've taught U.S. history, I've taught world history, I've taught government, I've taught political science, I've taught current events, pretty much run the gamut as far as the histories are concerned. And I have found over those 26, 27 years of teaching that by far and away the most interesting topic to my students is the JFK assassination. I didn't start off teaching the JFK assassination. I started off teaching the Watergate scandal. I had taken a class my senior year in college on the Watergate scandal, and though I had never gotten the professor to adequately answer the question why, I posed that question about halfway into the term, and he speculated but never did answer that question, at least to my satisfaction. And went on about my business and started my teaching career. I started teaching about halfway into the Watergate unit. A senior in high school raised his hand, asked me the very same question that I asked my professor. Why? Why would Nixon risk everything? He was on a glide path to re-election in '72. His opponent was self-destructing. Why would he risk everything to bug the DNC headquarters? He didn't need to do that. So why? And I didn't have an answer for that question either. I gave him the same speculations that my professor had given me and hoped it would kind of go away. It didn't go away. The next year I got the same question. And so I decided I better research this. I've got to have a better answer. And so as I began to research the Watergate scandal, I kept getting led back. The research would lead me back to the JFK assassination a decade before. I wasn't even interested in the JFK assassination. I thought that was a distraction. And yet, it was the same people. It was the same methods. It was the same covert operators. It was the same black ops that had come to be known in the late 50s and early 60s as something that the CIA was heavily involved in. And of course, the CIA, I learned, was heavily involved with relationships with the mob and with the Cubans, and all of this was one big incestual mess. And this deep dark pit that I found myself in with the JFK assassination began to draw more and more of my interest, because I realized the Watergate scandal was more of a symptom of something deeper. And so I started teaching it, linking the two together, and thought, well, I'll try it and see how it works, see if it makes sense. The students ate it up. They loved it. They couldn't get enough of it. And so it became a tradition. We would work through our standards, take the state test in early April, and from mid-April on to the end of the school year, we would cover the JFK assassination. And of course, it would lead us to the Watergate scandal. And it became one of my most requested topics. In fact, students would expect it from year to year. I kept thinking, this is the year students don't care anymore. We just passed the 60-year anniversary this last November. I keep waiting for that day when these modern-day students don't care anymore. And yet, I'm always wrong. They do care. And they've heard from prior year students about, wait till you get to the JFK assassination. Wait till you get to the end of the class. And so they come in with anticipation each August and talk about it leading up to March in anticipation. And so I have to teach it. And of course, over the years, my knowledge base has grown. I've learned a lot. I've written 3 books. The first book was an effort to produce something that my students might read. They kept telling me, Mr. Jones, we would read something about the JFK assassination if the books weren't all 5 inches thick. So I wrote a 100-page book, a little sort of like a pamphlet, geared for high school students, hoping that they would read it. That was my first book. You can still get that on Amazon. It's called Coup d'etat. The second book I wrote was a novel, weaving together all the events of that era. It's called Wilderness of Mirrors. It's also available on Amazon. And the third book, my latest release, is a nonfiction work about everything I've learned about the JFK assassination and all things related to it, and that's a lot. It's called Treasonous Cabal. It is also on Amazon if you wish to check that out. The interesting thing about it, the JFK assassination, is it's not really an emphasis in the state standards. There's a tiny little blip about JFK being assassinated, Lee Harvey Oswald being the lone assassin, regurgitating the lie that the American people were told in 1964 by the Warren Commission. And that's it. Students just have to know what happened and who did it. And there's no talk about ramifications. There's no talk about possible conspiracy. There's no talk about what the outcome of the change in leadership and foreign policy and so many things. There's just no talk about it at all. I don't think you can even begin to understand the Cold War. I don't believe you can even begin to understand current events, elections, foreign wars. And if you really want to be honest about it, I don't think you can understand the Ukraine war, which is going on presently, if you don't understand the JFK assassination and the Watergate scandal. Two moments in American history where presidents were duly elected and removed. And there were reasons that they were removed. And those reasons still hold true today. I don't think our educrats and our policymakers get it, but the students do. Instinctively, they know when they've been lied to. And as we get into it, they always have this moment, and their eyes get big, and it's this light bulb moment when they realize, my goodness, everything I've been taught has been wrong. And it opens the door in their mind to questioning what else they've been taught that's been wrong. And I cherish that moment because I see my role in this as to try to open people's eyes to see the truth. I think it was Mark Twain who said it. Some people say it was an ancient proverb, but I always give credit to Mark Twain. A lie goes around the world before the truth even gets out of town. And boy, isn't that true. In this context, in 1964, the Warren Commission produced an impressive volume. It was very large, very impressive, and it was all a lie. They started with a conclusion. Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. They worked backwards, and they fit all the evidence in to fit that conclusion. And over time, the evidence is just poured forth. And of course, Lee Harvey Oswald himself couldn't even defend himself because he was killed 2 days later. And so there was no trial. And that's one of the common things you see in a lot of these events that the government rushes out with a cover story, is that there's never a trial. So I know we as a class, we look for that. We look for things where, oh, there's no trial. That means there's a cover-up. And so anyway, it's that light bulb moment is always a cool thing with my students. And so I see my role here as trying to present facts, not opinions. I'm not into narratives. I just want to present the facts and then let the students kind of work it out in their own mind as to what they think happened. My wife has been after me for years to do this, to create a YouTube channel and curate all of my material into one place, into one location. It's out there in different locations, but it's hard to find. And I've always resisted. There's a million people out there doing JFK-related stuff. There's a million books, there's podcasts, there's radio programs, there's YouTube shows. I thought, last thing this world needs is another voice. But I've come to realize people don't read books anymore. I don't. I mean, I do from time to time. My job requires it. But the normal person does not read books anymore. I myself love to listen to podcasts. I listen to YouTube channels. I subscribe to numerous of both. If I do read a book, a lot of times I listen to it on Audible as I'm driving. When I'm running, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm exercising. When I'm on the mower in the summer or outside working, I'm always listening to something. I very seldom have time to just sit down and devote attention to a book. And so I've thought for years I'm going to write another book. And it occurred to me, why? What's the point? Nobody reads it anyway, it just sits there and collects dust. And you spend all your time marketing it, trying to get it out there. And it ends up being a paperweight on somebody's coffee table. So I thought, why don't you cater to yourself? What would you like? And I like these videos. So I decided to listen to my wife. It's 2024, it's a new year. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So here I am putting together these videos. As I mentioned, I do have those 3 books. I also have a website, standardsplushistoryacademy.com. And on that website, I have put together all of my resource materials for curriculum for homeschool students. So in other words, if you're a homeschool parent or student, I have all of my U.S. history materials. I have all my world history materials. I have all of my government materials, and I have an elective offering of the JFK assassination. You can buy the entire class and just buy the materials. It's the same materials I use every day in class. It's all following the state standards with the idea that there's a state test at the end. That's the cheap option. The more expensive option is if you want a live teacher, i.e. myself, you can buy me and I will live teach through online technology your son or your daughter or yourself, whomever, and those same classes. You'll get the same content, but you'll get me in addition, and I will set aside time each according to our schedule, and I will teach it to you. So that can be found on standardsplushistoryacademy.com. The format of these videos can be very simple. I'm going to keep them relatively short, between 20 and 25 minutes, hopefully. 1 or 2 a week, haven't decided. And I'm going to start with a question. Just like my search began with a question, why, to my professor, and my students' question, why, to me, I'm going to begin with a question. Many of these questions have been posed by my students, and I've collected them over the years, and they have helped me formulate all of this content, which, believe it or not, this is a massive, massive topic. And so I've tried to bite-size chunk it into digestible pieces so that we can work our way through this labyrinth of material, but do so in an organized format. I've over the years, I've done a lot of podcasts, I've done a lot of radio programs, but I'm always at the mercy of the host, and I have to follow the breadcrumbs that they lay out, and sometimes it's very scatterbrained. It's hodgepodge, grab bag. There's no rhyme or reason, no rhythm to what we're looking at. There's no chronological order. It's not following the topical order. It's just all over the place. It's very difficult to understand. So the point of this is to try to make it easy to understand, to present it in a clear format that one event builds on another, follows a timeline, etc., etc. Very easy to follow. That's the goal, anyway. So that will be the format. A little housekeeping information. If you like what you see and you hear, feel free to subscribe. It's free. Hit the notification buttons. You'll be notified each and every time new content drops. And then please, yes, also hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it very much. Looking forward to this journey, and I hope it leads us to the truth that we all seek. Have a happy 2024 and a great day today. Thank you.